Coming up, the family of a USC student is mourning after police believe she got into the wrong car and ended up dead. And police in one eastern Kentucky community noticed something strange about people in the community, noticed something strange about the creeks and streams. We'll tell you what's going on. And primary elections in Kentucky are next month. We talked with one University of Kentucky professor who believes voter turnout has to get better the best results.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning and happy Tuesday to you. The time is 6:30. Let's check in with Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast. And I know, Brandon, you and I both need a little more coffee this morning.
Yeah, I tell you, I don't know what's happening. I just, all of a sudden, the further in the morning we've got, the more I've started to drag. But yeah, I have to get someone once we get off the air here. But this morning, there is a freeze warning in effect once again. But I think the frost is patchy as you head out because temperatures are much warmer thanks to some cloud cover. You see the freeze warning there for about half of the region going until 9 o'clock this morning. Would not be surprised if they cancel that a little bit early, but again, some patchy frost is possible. We take a look at live pinpoint Doppler radar, and you see an array of colors there indicating lots of different types of precipitation. But again, when I show you temperatures in a second, you'll see that those blues and those pinks probably not causing too much of an issue. Now, 33 here in Hazard, but 42 down the road in Harlan, 41 Middlesboro, 39 in Pikeville. So we're surrounded by those mid to upper 30s with the exception of Prestonsburg there at 32 and Ashland at 30. So your heating forecast over the next couple of days, might be able to turn that thermostat down a little bit as we head toward the end of the week. Normal high and low this time of the year, 64 and 43, 70 in the forecast as we head toward Thursday. I'll have the rest of that forecast for you coming up here in just a few minutes. Connor?
Thanks, Brandon. A small town in North Dakota is left in shock after a medical call turned into a multiple homicide investigation. Police near Bismarck responded to a property management company around 7:30 a.m. Monday morning. What they discovered once they were inside the building was the bodies of 3 men and a woman.
It's very sad that there's people in this world that would do something of what we had to experience today.
Aside from a single post on the Facebook feed stating they were closed for the day, the management company has yet to comment. With no suspect in custody, and so many questions left unanswered, authorities are trying to calm any fears throughout the community. And the mourning continues this morning for the University of South Carolina after the death of a student. The young woman went missing after getting into a car that she apparently believed was her Uber. It wasn't, and police say the driver killed her. It's unclear when she realized it was the wrong car, but police say she couldn't have escaped. Her father, Seymour, explained why.
She had absolutely no chance. None. The door was locked. The child safety lock was on.
Samantha Josephson's body was found 70 miles away from where she was reported missing. She was set to graduate USC in May and move on to law school. The suspect, Nathaniel Rolland, is facing murder and kidnapping charges. And Georgia's Bureau of Investigation has been requested to investigate an officer-involved shooting that happened Monday evening in Union County. News outlets spoke to a woman who lives in the home in front of the shooting scene. The suspect has been identified as a 19-year-old man. We do not know his name at this time. This is the 27th officer-involved shooting this year. The GBI will be assisting with the investigation. And there was a delay yesterday in the sentencing for the triggerman in a Clay County murder case. Roscoe Henson was on the docket to learn his punishment this afternoon. However, for some reason, the judge delayed sentencing. He admitted last year to the 2015 murder of Trevor Dykes. Details of his plea agreement have not been released. Roscoe's brother Gilbert, Ashley, Nicole Lawson, and Thomas Miracle also face charges. Police say Miracle hired Roscoe Henson to kill Dykes. And police in Harlan County say a man broke into a home and choked the homeowner. Sherry Smith faces numerous charges, including burglary. Police say a woman living at the home was asleep when he grabbed her. Smith is in the Harlan County Detention Center. And friends and family of a missing Richmond woman hope a reward will help bring new information. Savannah Spurlock was last seen on January 4th, nearly 3 months ago. Organizers are offering a more than $10,000 reward to find Savannah. Police say Spurlock was seen leaving a Lexington bar with 3 men before going home to Garrard County. Now, business owners in Letcher County should watch out for counterfeit money. The sheriff's office says fake bills are circulating. You can see in this picture the bill says for motion picture use purposes on the front and back. If you believe someone is using fake money, call police. And although severe flooding swept through our region about a month and a half ago, many families are still dealing with the aftermath. People we talked with yesterday in Martin County are still waiting to be able to go back to their homes or find new permanent ones. As WYMT's Justin Case learned, the process could take longer than expected, while the people affected say their time is running out.
Take a look at this. The home you're seeing here, it's almost upside down. In February, floodwaters picked it up and carried it out of Debbie Danover's backyard.
And I kept saying, oh my gosh, we got to get out of here. No, it's going to be okay. And it just came so fast that it was crazy.
Her cousin, who is mentally handicapped, lived inside the home. She says everything he owns, including pictures of loved ones, is still inside. Now, Danover says the family is hoping for FEMA assistance to help her cousin.
And we still cooked and gave his, his things and took care of him, but that was his home.
Meanwhile, her cousin Doug is relying on God to get him through this.
Yeah, I talk to Jesus every day.
Right next door to the Danovers is Sheila Mollett and her family. They were forced from their home after a mudslide made it unlivable, also during severe weather back in February. With all of their possessions still there, she and her family are relying on the generosity of others.
Red Cross paid for us to stay here for 2 months. That's up in the end of April, so I don't know where we're going to go from there.
For Mollett, she says time is running out. Her husband is in school to become a welder. In order to help pay rent, she worries he might have to drop out and find any job that has an immediate opening.
If he doesn't finish that certification, if he goes into a field like that, he's going to be taken underpaid than what he could be getting. He's like one more semester and he's finished.
Hoping for financial help to make sure loved ones have a home.
Officials from the State Emergency Management Office say they have received several requests for federal aid from Martin County. State officials are still working to submit those for federal aid. The requests include flood damage from most counties in eastern Kentucky and also areas in western Kentucky that experienced similar issues. And some people who live in the Kemper community of Pike County noticed something strange about their creeks and streams. On Saturday, the water looked orange, but some say this is almost normal for the area. The color change happened after employees of a nearby coal company cleaned out the old ponds, causing the chemicals to mix with nearby creeks and streams. Bobby Spears has lived there for 72 years. He says people passing by who took photos caused an uproar on social media.
It come up this weekend and some people put it on the internet and now they're talking about it.
Pike County emergency management officials say they are not sure if the water was contaminated by accident. If you notice a change in the color of your nearby streams, you can call the Kentucky Emergency Response Commission at 1-800-255-2587. And primary elections in Kentucky are next month. One University of Kentucky professor believes voter turnout has to get better to get the best results. He even thinks voting should be required. Miranda Combs sat down with the professor, who has made it his life's work to improve voting in Kentucky and the country.
In presidential elections, usually 60% of the population votes. Midterms, 30 to 40%. Local elections, at least in Kentucky in 2015, turnout was 30 to 31%.
I think it's horrible and a stain on our democracy to have such a low turnout and, our elected officials be elected by only 30% of people showing up and, so being decided by roughly 16% of the electorate.
Josh Douglas is on the passionate side of this debate. He's ashamed of America's low voter turnout, even wrote this book about how to improve it.
We must do better. If we have a democracy where every person's vote should count and should be counted, then we have to find ways to improve turnout.
A fairly easy way, he believes, would be to make it mandatory.
I think we'd have a much more informed electorate because people would take the time to learn about the candidates. Sure. In Australia, where they have mandatory voting and turnout of 90-95%, there's no indication that the voters are less educated.
Would results change if we were required to show up to vote?
No, I don't know. And I don't think it matters for the conversation as to whether we should increase voter turnout.
Many believe mandatory voting would just lead to more voter fraud, putting a strain on the voting process and more money to protect it.
And there's no good reason not to make it easy to vote, so long as we also ensure we have safeguards.
In the U.S., just because everyone doesn't have to vote, some states appear to make the process at least easier. Oregon, Washington, and Colorado have universal vote by mail statewide, where the ballot comes to the home and residents have a few weeks to study it.
And what we've found is that in those states, people actually take the time to educate themselves because they're able to from the comfort of their homes, and they have some time in which to do it.
Douglas's book chronicles those across the country working to increase voter interest and, in turn, turnout. Because whether it's mandatory or not, Douglas says the idea behind voting is the reason for its importance.
Voting and participating is a way in which people can feel some sort of ownership in our country and its laws.
In Lexington, Miranda Combs, WKYT.
Kentucky's primary election is on May 21st. Now let's check in with Brandon Robinson for another look at your forecast. Brandon?
So far, so good this morning as you head out the door. Not a whole lot of activity here in Hazard and across the area. We're not going to see a whole lot as well. We go over to UVA-wise, and again, quiet conditions this morning. As you head out, we're going to continue to see those clouds, though, across the area this morning, filtering in and out. And you see a lot of moisture trying to show up down south. Now, not all this is reaching the ground, and we're going to continue to track possibilities for stray showers on and off throughout the day. Temperatures in those 30s and 40s as we head through the first part of your day. 33 in Hazard, 32 Prestonsburg, and 30 up toward Ashland, some of the cooler spots. We go down south, you see some 40s down toward Huntsville and Atlanta, Myrtle Beach, and over toward Charlotte this morning. 12-hour planner, you are going to see lots of warmer temperatures today, close to 60 in a lot of locations. Sunshine filtering with those clouds. Connor?
Thanks, Brandon. We will have stories trending on WYMT.com next. Thanks for joining us on Mountain News this morning. And still to come, one Eastern Kentucky high school senior gets accepted to an Ivy League school. We'll share her story. And one cat may disappear for a while, but his owner knows he will always come back. We'll share the story of one curious cat.